Hey everyone, I'm the person who made the page. Okay, so we have a Michael Jordan fan who wants to go on. He's from YouTube. He goes by the username of Goatman. And just to give you a quick intro about this guy, some of you know that the other day, on I think more than one video, he was starting some drama, writing disrespectful things, rude things, not being like 100% nice. Now, he later on explained that he was kind of just joking around, wasn't being serious. He wasn't trying to be disrespectful, and he apologized. So he seems nice, and he's being respectful, and seems like a nice guy. He wanted to go on the podcast. He has Michael Jordan as number one, and he would like to explain why Michael Jordan is number one. So let me just get him on. Hey, thank you for coming to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on, then. You have Michael Jordan as number one. Please feel free to explain if you like.
The GOAT discussion is much like the MVP discussion to me. It's just a matter of what you're looking for, what your taste is. Everyone may have a different reason for someone being their GOAT, just like everyone has a different reason for someone being their MVP, which is why Shaq has one. Kobe has one, even though we know that guys who have more MVPs than them maybe shouldn't have as many. So Jordan is my GOAT. And I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for whoever your GOAT is or someone else's, but he's my GOAT because I look at what makes a GOAT to me is not just the best player, because it's very hard to decide who's the best player. Like if you put Jamal Crawford and John Stockton in the gym and you tell me to put my money on who I think is going to win on one-on-one, I'd have to put it on Jamal Crawford. But if you ask me who's the best NBA player, it's not even close that John Stockton was the better NBA player, better career, all that. So when you look at me, when I look at it, I'm looking at it like who had the best balance of stats and team achievements, accolades, awards, led the league and things, who has the best resume of everything put together.
I got you. Okay, so let me get in on this. So
sure.
Just real quick. So those kind of things, his resume, which is a very normal thing that Michael Jordan fans believe, you can point to lots of other stars who have a resume, accolades, stats, awards, who are on the level of Michael Jordan or have a better resume than Michael Jordan.
Well, see, that's your opinion that they have a better resume. I'm saying I'm not going to disagree. It depends what you're looking for. But what I'm saying is, what I don't think can be disputed if someone's being unbiased and just honest, is the balance of both, of everything. And what I'm saying is, I'll give you an example why Jordan is my GOAT. I look at the balance of it. I look at guys like LeBron. You look up, you put their stats and you put their team achievements, and you say, okay, Jordan to me has both. He has great stats.
What do you mean the team achievements? What do you mean the team achievements?
The championship.
Are you talking about one player winning a ring? Okay, so the ring.
No,
so
team achievement.
Michael Jordan
championship.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're going to ask me why do Michael Jordan fans look at rings? And
why
I would
do
say
Michael Jordan fans act like one player wins a ring? This is a team game. One player does not win a ring.
Totally agree. But what I'm saying is, I don't agree that I'm making it seem like one player wins a ring when I say a balance of individualism stats and team stats. Because in basketball, unlike something like baseball, where you're the center fielder and you only bat 3 or 4 times a game, you can't really blame that guy for his team not being successful, which is why a guy can win MVP and probably win 70 games in a year. What I'm saying is in basketball, like no other sport, when you play offense and defense, you have such a huge outcome on the game as a superstar.
Well, now you are giving a matter of opinion. So just like you told me,
that's a fact.
You're giving opinion. Well, no, I'm going to explain to you why it's not a fact. So you can make the point that other sports have players that have less of an impact, like a baseball player. You gave the example of a center fielder. You can do the same thing with other sports, but there's a flip side to that. You could give the same example, just like in basketball, that one player makes a huge difference. For example, the center fielder that you gave, this was your example. If a pitcher is on the mound pitching a no-hitter or a 1-0 game, and that guy comes at bat 4 times and goes 4 for 4, he has a major impact on that game. If you don't want to go by the outfielder, you can go by the pitcher. In baseball, a pitcher, just like every other position, is very important. In the playoffs, what do they always explain? You need pitching and defense. So a pitcher has a huge outcome of a game.
And guess what? In a postseason series, that pitcher can only pitch twice. or 3 times. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm just trying to rebut what you're saying.
It's okay. But now you're measuring how much of an impact they have, and you can do that. But it's like, how detailed do you want to go, and what's the point of doing that? Because at the end of the day, everyone needs every player.
Let me tell you my point.
When you say they only come 2, but just real quick, when you say that that person in the playoffs only goes 2 times, you're making a new debate about how much the effect they have in the playoffs. Your point was the game in general, and whether it's the regular season or the playoffs, it doesn't matter, because in each particular game, it is the pitcher who has a major impact. So even though he plays 2 games, the next game has a different pitcher then.
Exactly. So one pitcher doesn't have the same impact. I'm not saying they don't have impact. You're making it seem like I'm saying that the pitcher does not have impact, the center fielder does not have impact.
I'm not making it seem like that. You're explaining that there's a difference in impact.
Well, I'm saying what you're explaining. It's pretty much a fact. A player in baseball, it is a fact. I'm sorry. A player in baseball.
Oh, now it is a fact. Okay, all right.
No, it is a fact. I mean, numbers don't lie. I mean, and common sense doesn't lie either. If a player in baseball,
common sense is not a fact, and it can be a fact. Sometimes it's not. And stats, as
I've heard you say in a previous podcast that it's common sense and logical that Magic could average 30 if he wanted to, because of the way he played. You said it was common sense and logical. But this is what I'm saying. I'm trying to finish this point real quick, and then I'll let you go.
No, hold on. If you're saying that I said common sense, fine. But you didn't just say that. You said it's pretty much a fact, and then you went to it's a fact.
Well, okay. In my opinion, if that suits you better, because I just want to get my point across. I don't want to, nitpick on the verbiage. Okay, but here's the thing: in baseball, if you have a pitcher who pitches, I'm not sure, once every 3 days, 4 days, 4 games, or whatever, and you have okay, and saying he's in the American League, he doesn't even bat. They have DHs. You cannot tell me, without just trying to play devil's advocate and debate and try and nitpick, that he has the same impact on his team's success.
Well, hold on. You say you don't want to nitpick, and then you just went to, well, he's in the American League now and he doesn't even bat. You are nitpicking.
Okay, well, if he's in the National League, I'm just saying. Okay. It just shows that the whole point. I don't want to lose the point as everything I say becomes a new subject matter. The whole point is, in basketball, the players, they play offense and they play defense. Like, for instance, I know you're going to hate this, Tom Brady can't play defense, so he can put up 600 yards and 6 touchdowns and be great, but if his defense is terrible and they give up 700 yards and 8 touchdowns...
I got you, but again, what you're doing is this. As you said to me, that's a matter of opinion. You are giving your opinion on how much impact players have in every other sport. You can do that, but my follow-up to that is, number one, there's a flip side. You can make the argument that other sports have stars who make a huge impact, just like in the NBA. And even if you disagree, that's fine. Then the next follow-up becomes, what is the point in going so detailed? Well, in baseball, he has this much impact, and basketball is this, and football is this. At the end of the game, it's a team game. Well, that's what I'm getting to.
I'm getting to that point. I'm getting to the point. And the point is when people try and diminish championships, because I'm on here because I'm proving that I want to tell you why I believe that Michael is my GOAT. And I'm saying is championships do matter. If Michael it's like LeBron fans will say, well, championships are a team achievement. If LeBron was 9-0, I guarantee, can't prove it, but I could pretty much guarantee from all the LeBron fans I debate, that word would never come out of their mouth. They would be like, well, he's 9-0.
Okay,
he has 9 championships.
There's a couple of follow-ups here. That's the second time you went to LeBron James, and this is something that Michael Jordan fans always do. You always go to LeBron James. I haven't brought up LeBron James. I don't know why you guys always go to LeBron James, but you did it, so let's go into that now. So you say what LeBron James fans say about winning and losing in the rings. Let me tell you what Michael Jordan fans say about winning and losing in the NBA Finals. Hey, Michael Jordan went 6 for 6. He's undefeated in the finals. He never lost in the finals. He went 6-0. They explain it over and over like it's an individual thing and not a team thing. And let me tell you something else that they do.
I haven't mentioned it. Can we talk about what I talk about? Because you're telling me what other people say.
No, but that's what you just did. You went into LeBron James fan.
I know, but I have to give you example and perspective.
No, that's fine, and I'm following up to that. The other thing is, you mentioned about how when he wins and loses. What do Michael Jordan fans say when Michael Jordan loses? Let me tell you what they say about him. You know, in Washington, it doesn't really count because he was old. In 1995, it doesn't really count because he was rusty and he didn't have time. In the 80s, it doesn't really count because he didn't have a good enough team. And in the 90s or whatever other time he lost, it's because he was young and inexperienced. So you are doing the same thing that LeBron James fans do.
No, let me ask you a question. No. When did I say that?
I'm answering. I'm answering. When you go by what LeBron James fans do and you go by rings as a part of your criteria, you are not directly saying it, but you're doing in that atmosphere, that zone of winning rings versus individual players.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the perspective you're missing. First of all, you keep telling me what other Michael Jordan fans said and making it seem like I said it, and I've never said any of those excuses at all, even in our previous conversation. I've never given excuses. I actually told you that I don't make excuses. I told you, I said Michael had such a great prime that he gives the fans, the true fans, not the stands, not the people who he can do no wrong.
Just a quick time out. I know I'm interrupting you. Just a quick time out. I didn't bring up what you did in the first phone call. I was hoping you wouldn't either. It's okay if you did. I'm not holding against you. But I didn't.
Well, you've done that twice.
You're starting fresh here. No, I did not bring up what you did in the last phone call. We'll play the tape back again if you want, but not now. We'll play it afterwards. But if you want to go in the phone call, that's fine. If you want to go in the phone call, that's fine. But I purposely didn't do that because I thought you were starting fresh here. But if you want to go back,
it was the second time I brought up LeBron, and the first time wasn't a phone call.
In this phone call, you brought up LeBron James twice. That's what I meant.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, it's okay. We can play the tape. The callers, all the audience will play this tape back. So don't worry. If one of us is wrong, they're gonna call us
out. Totally fine.
So what I'm explaining to you is, I was trying to start fresh here. When you go back to what you said in the last phone call or not, we got to be consistent now because you said a lot of things in the last phone call. Do you want to get into that phone call?
Oh, we can do it. But this is what I'm saying. We've been on the phone on this conversation for I don't know what 5-10 minutes, and I still haven't given you my point of why I think MJ's the GOAT.
Well, you can't just have a free pass, man. If you're going to say things that are
I don't want a free pass. I haven't even given you my.
I got to follow up on that.
Okay, that's fine. But you're following up on every single thing I say, and I haven't even gotten to.
Like I said, you're not going to get a free pass. You're not going to get a free pass.
That's fine. If you don't view championships, that's fine. But my first thing I said when this call started is everyone has their own criteria for GOAT, just as they have their criteria for MVP that they vote for. And what I'm saying is,
right.
I said me, like, you can't tell me what I can't look for in my GOAT. You know, you can't tell me you're wrong or championship shouldn't matter.
But hold on.
In my opinion,
what I can do, if you don't mind, I don't mean I'm forcing it on you, I can at the very least, get you to think, are you being consistent and fair?
And who am I being unfair to?
Well, I mean, now we have to go back in a circle again about what happened in baseball.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm being unfair to because I haven't.
James fans, rings.
Well, no, this is what I'm saying is because people who don't want Jordan to be the GOAT or just don't think he's the GOAT, which is totally fine. Like, you don't have to think he's the GOAT because, like I said before, I don't believe that it's a fact that he's the GOAT. I believe it's my opinion. And what I'm saying is everyone has different criteria they look for. And to me, because like I was saying, and I didn't mean to go for you to take it and run with it, but in basketball, like no other sport, you can have so much impact. Because think about it, like the way that, you know, and I'll bring up LeBron for a third time. In 2007, or some of the teams that he's brought to the finals, like you look at his cast of characters that he had around him before he tried to create super teams, like they overachieved because one player was so great, he could actually manifest that on the court because he played both ends at that time. He's so great. He got people involved. Like one player could do that in basketball because you can play both ends. You don't have to go sit on the bench and be like, okay, hope the defense does well. Hope my pitcher pitches well for me. So one player. So in basketball, people tend to look at championships. But for me, it's not the end all be all. It's a part of it. I believe we went through this, man. Number one, again, you can make those. Number one, you're giving an opinion, and that's fine. But number two, you can do those same kind of things in other sports, how much impact they have. And if you disagree, that's fine too. Okay. Now it's, are you being consistent? So, for example,
you brought up about how, well, you don't have to wait around the bench and a pitcher can do this. Let me tell you what happens if a pitcher doesn't have good defense. Those ground balls are going in the hole. Those balls are going where they ain't. If he's frustrated, the team's not scoring. Those become home runs. You can find things and find variables. It doesn't mean you're right or wrong. It just means, have you thought about this in detail, and are you being fair? So, for example, a pitcher doesn't come up to at bat in the American League. Okay, but he comes to at bat in the National League. And if he doesn't come out to at bat in the American League, he has a DH hitter. It means he can't have an impact on the game, so someone else has to fill in and do well. I mean, you can find these variables and excuses if you want, but you're not being
there are excuses. Now, there are no excuses. Okay, that is an excuse. That's just an honest. That is just a fact. Like if you're in the, let's say you're in the World Series and your ace pitched Game 6. Okay, and he's not available for Game 7. So, and then that team loses. It's that team losing the World Series.
You can do the same thing in the NBA, man. How many times?
Listen, those players do not get held as accountable as NBA players. NBA players get held more accountable.
But you're changing the topic to accountability now. We're not talking about accountability. If Michael Jordan,
we are talking about accountability because I'm saying team championships matter in the debate because you are accountable, because you have so much more accountability and so much more responsibility as a basketball player, and so much more gets thrown on you if you don't win.
I
think about
disagree.
This.
Some fans, some fans hold it accountability. I don't. If Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is injured and Magic Johnson fills in for him, I'm not going to hold it against Kareem. If Wilt Chamberlain is injured, if Michael Jordan is tired, or if another star cannot play, it's not going to be against the star. The team has to do what they can. Now, you can make the point. You can make the point that we all agree a star has an impact on a team. There's no dispute there. It makes a difference. But when a team scores 100 points a game and Michael Jordan scores 29, that is not an impact like as if it's so different from other sports. It's just a star player having an impact.
Do you realize?
But at the end of the day, it's a team game.
And at the end of the day, it's a team game, and you can use that same argument for other things that you're going to use. If you're going to say, well, Magic Johnson averaged 11 assists. If his teammates don't hit those shots, he doesn't get assists. Not every great pass somebody makes the bucket. It's always a team game. Everything.
You're right.
Even your points.
I'm agreeing with you.
Even your points. Even your points. Wilt Chamberlain scoring 100 points is not because he went 1-on-5. It's because his teammates, somebody had to guard the other people. Somebody had to give him the ball in the post. Somebody had to play defense. Right.
No, I got you. I'm agreeing.
All of it is a team game. If you want to be super technical, because if you're going to tell me that this person's the GOAT or this person's the GOAT, not you, but when I say you, I mean people in general. Even your points are because you had a team that, maybe you had a good 3-point shooter who spread the floor, so you were able to get to the rim.
I'm on your side, man. You don't have to explain. Okay. I'm on your side, man. So what's your follow up to that? Go ahead.
Okay, but that's my point is that if you want to say, well, we shouldn't count rings because it's a team game, then we shouldn't count points either. We shouldn't count assists because guess what? Maybe Magic had better teammates. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying if we wanted to do that, so he has more assists because his guys were able to make, because Kareem could make great hook shots, and then this player didn't have a Kareem to throw it to get his assist total up.
I got what you're saying.
I'm not saying that in general. I'm just saying if you want to go the team route.
No, let me tell you why you're wrong on this, all right? You are right if the topic was stats aren't everything. There's variables about why certain stars do better or worse. Then you're right. You have to take into consideration why certain stars have better stats than other stars. But the debate is, why is this guy number one? And you're going into such fine detail, which I understand why. You don't have to explain why you're doing it. I get why you're doing it.
I honestly did. I honestly gave one example, and then it just kind of snowballed.
Right. No, I get it. But I'm following up now. The reason that doesn't make sense is because you are not analyzing one game or one series. You are analyzing the totality of all the games and putting averages. Yes. That's what stats are for, to get the foundation of how is he doing in general. So whether when you say, well, maybe he had a good star, maybe someone had to make the basket, maybe someone was doing this, maybe someone was doing that, that makes sense if you're just judging one game or a few games. But when you're judging 20 years and 82 games a season or whatever, and you're going by all the games, then you have an average of how they did.
I mean, but the thing is, no, I agree. What I'm saying is, if you want to nitpick and say, well, teams win titles, which is true, but
That's not nitpicking, man. That's not nitpicking.
Okay, well, I'm saying, but then we also have to say, teams get guys assists. Here's the thing, stats. Here's the thing about stats, which your Magic Johnson thing.
Wait, no, hold on. No, I can't let you go on that, man. When you say it's not nitpicking, when you say it's nitpicking for rings, team game, that's not nitpicking. It is a team game. One player doesn't win rings.
I know. Okay, well, maybe it's not nitpicking, but you're ignoring everything else, I should say then.
Okay, so when you say Magic Johnson has
it is a team game.
And yeah, but hold on. When you say Magic Johnson has assists and you get those examples you gave, again, I explained this. The reason that doesn't make sense is you're not analyzing one game or 1 week or one team or 1 year. You are analyzing all the years, all the teams, all the players. So even if you make the point, well, Magic can't get an assist if Kareem ain't throwing the sky hook. He can't get an assist if James Worthy ain't finishing. He can't get an assist if he doesn't have a good team.
Which wasn't my example, by the way.
Floor. I know you're not. But I'm saying you're giving points about why a player, if you want to nitpick, that's what your point is. Then understand, you're not nitpicking. You're not nitpicking. You're not going by one or two isolated times, 3 or 4. You're going by every year, every game, every season, every team. Then.
And that's fine. And when you look at the totality, Michael Jordan is the all-time leading scoring average in points in the regular season and the postseason. And I'm sure you know this because you're very knowledgeable, that Wilt Chamberlain is basically a tie with him at 30. But in the postseason, Michael goes up to 33, where he elevated his game. Wilt Chamberlain went down to 22 points per game in the postseason. But here's the thing. Okay, Jordan has the balance of the individual stats and the team stats. This is what I said. When I say championships, I call it a team stat. I didn't say Jordan has 6 championships. I said he has the individual stats, which are great. He has the team stats, 6 finals MVPs. No, he did not win every year, but when he got there, he won. When he was in championship mode, they won. Kareem is the only player, in my opinion, this is my opinion, that balances both as well as Jordan, because Wilt had all the stats, but he didn't have the great titles. He had 2 titles, and only one time was he the Finals MVP. But here's where Kareem, if I want, because when you let me finish this one point. When you get into the GOAT debate, you have to unfortunately nitpick things, and it makes you look like you're diminishing a guy, and it's unfortunate, but you have to do that just to kind of break things down. Kareem has 6.
Why do you have to do that? No, why? Why do you have to do that?
Well, no, okay, you don't have to. It sounds like
you can just appreciate all of them.
Well, you can, but if you're going to debate and if you're going to try and say, well, this guy is this and that, you have to, like, just like you're going to say, you love Jordan or you think Jordan is great, but you're going to be like, he didn't do this or he couldn't do this. Here's the thing. Kareem has 6 chips, just like Jordan has 6 chips. Jordan had 6 Finals MVPs. Kareem had 2. That means 4 other times it was considered that Kareem was not the most effective, maybe the most dominant, whatever people were looking for to say this person is the reason you won Finals MVP.
I have a follow-up to that. I know where you're going with this, man. I know where the audience, a lot of the audience knows too. There's a couple of holes in what you're explaining. So, for example, when you say he won this many Finals MVP award, how is a player supposed to win the Finals MVP if he doesn't have a team that goes to the Finals? How is he supposed to win the MVP if he doesn't have a team that wins the NBA Finals? How is a player supposed to do bad in the NBA Finals if he doesn't go to the NBA Finals? And the last one, how is this player supposed to do any of these things? Win a Finals MVP, do well in the Finals if his team doesn't make the playoffs? So when you talk about impact of a star, George Gervin and John Stockton and Karl Malone and Reggie Miller all impacted their team very well. But if the team doesn't win, how are they supposed to have those things that you're elevating with Michael Jordan?
Well, here's the thing, my whole preface is my GOAT, the person that I look at as the GOAT is the person whose resume, whatever created that resume. Like Jordan averages more points than, let's say, LeBron. But I'm totally aware that LeBron is asked
to LeBron again.
Jordan is asked to score. Okay? So I get that. So I can't say, well, he's a better this or better that. I'm just saying, I'm just looking at what happened. I can't say how it might be. I tell her how it is. Other people tell her how it might be.
Okay, no problem. We can do that, man. I can tell you
Jordan had the balance. Yeah. Jordan had the balance of stats. He's the all-time leading scorer, in averages. He's the all-time leading scorer in the postseason. He had 10 scoring titles. I'm saying defensive player of the year. Now, I'm just giving you accolades, awards, things like that.
No, I know what you're saying. I already know what you're saying. I'm only waiting because I don't want you to feel like you're not getting a chance. But I already know where you're going with this, man. You're making it very clear.
Well, let me finish going there. Let me finish going there then. Thank you.
All right.
Jordan, I'm not going to run down his entire resume because I know that can get annoying to the audience because they probably heard it regurgitated a million times. What I'm saying is if you look at his awards, the things he's led the league in, the steals 3 times, okay? I'm not saying it's better than Wilt. I'm saying he has that. He has the personal individual.
Well, I got to interrupt you real quick just to make sure there's no misunderstanding.
Sure.
This is not to cut you off and give my point. I just want to try and understand what you're saying. A little while ago, I thought you were explaining that when you go by his resume, I don't have the exact words and exact quote, but when you go by the totality of everything, all his championships, awards, stats, accolades, that his is the best. But then you just said right now about how you're not explaining his is the best. There's Wilt Chamberlain, and I guess there's others. So which one is it? Is his resume the best or
right?
Not the best?
Okay, this is what I'm saying. His total resume is the best to me. I'm saying his individual, like obviously his 6 rebounds a game doesn't match up to a Chamberlain 24, you know what I mean, or a Russell 22. So I'm just saying, like, when you look at someone's stats, like I look at Russell, okay? Here's my thinking, which I've heard before on TV. I'm not saying that makes it right. I'm just saying I've heard it before, so I know I'm not alone, is Russell had the chips, but not the stats. Chamberlain had the stats, but not the chips. Jordan has both. I mean, at a high level. Russell has the chips.
I got you.
I don't care.
No, I got you.
I'm not going to get into the era. I'm not going to get into the era debate.
Yeah, the time is going to run out. So I just want to do.
Okay.
I got what you're saying.
I'm
if
saying
you want to continue,
Russell
go ahead.
average.
I don't want you to feel like you're being. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say Russell averaged 15.
I didn't want you to feel like you're being disrespected or you didn't have time. So if you want to,
you're totally fine.
Go ahead. But the time is running out, man.
Okay, I'm just saying Russell's stats were not.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Hello?
I wasn't sure. Do you want to go ahead or do you want to?
Well, I only show 35 minutes that I've been on the phone, so I don't. But
it's going to end soon. So go ahead, man.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying Russell's stats were not. He averaged I think 15 or 18 total points per game, 18 points for his career. I mean, that's not like just gaudy stats like the Chamberlain. So he he had some rebounds, like 15 rebounds. He had the chips, okay, but he didn't have he didn't blow you out the water with his stats. He was more of a defensive player. He shot 44% from the field as a center, okay, 50% from the free throw line, okay. Jordan had no weaknesses. Free throws for Wilt, Russell were weaknesses. It's hard to get into Wilt. Wilt, I can't argue his stats. He's Wilt. But then you look at the chips. He only amounted to 2 chips and 1 Finals MVP. And so I'm saying when I'm putting them up against each other, the resumes, I'm like, okay, those team achievements, I like Michael's resume. Like if I was going to take anybody's career in the NBA, I'd rather have the 6 titles. And then someone might say, what about Robert Horry? Yeah, he didn't have the stats. He didn't have, he didn't lead the league in this or that. So that eliminates Horry, So
let me, I got your point, man. The time is time is going to run out soon, man. I got your point.
Okay, go ahead. I'll listen.
Yeah. I don't understand what you're doing here. On the one hand, you say, I know on stats, Michael Jordan doesn't have the best stats. So others. It's not just Wilt Chamberlain, by the way. You can find other stars who have stats on the level of Mike or better than Mike. But whether you agree or not doesn't matter. There are other stars. I'll get into that, but there's some other things I want to get into also. Then just hold on a second if you don't want. There are other stars, you acknowledge Wilt, who have just as good stats as Mike or better than Mike. So that's on stats. Now, if you're going to go
who has the titles, though? I'm sorry, but when you tell me those guys who have the stats, tell me who also has those titles. Remember, I said my GOAT has to have the balance of both at a high level.
I'm getting to that, man.
Okay.
I'm getting to the other stuff. If you're saying, well, now when you don't go by stats, when you go by the other stuff, that's when you think his resume is top dog over other stars. That doesn't make sense for 2 reasons. Hear me out on this. Number one, there are other stars who have a resume. Remember, not everyone's going to have the same exact point-for-point resume. It's a general thing. So when you analyze resume, rings, MVPs, accolades, awards, there are other stars who have just as good of a resume as Jordan or better than Jordan. And then I don't understand why you're still going to rings. You, on the one hand, acknowledge it's a team thing. One player doesn't win rings. You acknowledge that, which is good. Thank you. But if you're acknowledging it's a team thing and one player doesn't win rings, why are you including rings in the resume? And then the last thing, there are other players who have 6 or more rings.
And do they have the stats of Jordan? I mean, if they have them, if they have 6 or more rings and they have the amazing stats that Jordan has and the accolades, the 5 MVPs, the 10 scoring titles, 7 in a row, all-time leading scorer in the postseason, in the regular season of average. If they have that,
no,
then
but what
name
you're
them.
doing is, man, you're cherry picking what elevates Jordan, and that's fine. I'm not holding that against you. You can cherry pick what you like, as you explain. It's an opinion.
That's your opinion.
You're
by the
going
way.
by your
that is your opinion,
right?
That is your opinion.
But
I'm not cherry picking Jordan. I'm looking at both individual and team.
I'll show you why you're cherry picking, man. Because you can do the same routine where you cherry pick other stars. I can go by Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, John Havlicek, where I cherry pick and say, this guy did this. It doesn't mean he's better or worse or on the level or not compared to Michael Jordan. And anyway, whether you disagree or not, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, some of the stuff you're picking, like rings, like NBA Finals MVP, why do these things even matter? It's a team game.
It's just funny that anybody who's against Jordan hates to bring up rings, even though if Tom Brady had 0 rings, who would really be talking about Tom Brady? This is not just we have a new topic.
Now we have a new topic. Why do people?
No, we don't have a new topic. I can use examples without.
I'll tell you why
getting
the new
off
topic. No, I know you can give examples. Remember, that's not the point. That's not how you analyze things. I can always find insane people, uneducated people who believe in things. But when you say, but when you say what you just said, this is always funny when people don't want to go by rings. You are creating aspersions about why people are doing things. A lot of educated Hall of Famers, NBA experts don't go by rings. Why do you think they're not going by rings? They just don't like Michael Jordan. They like someone else. They're biased. They're uneducated. What is it? What do you think? Why they're doing that?
Well, because everyone has a different idea of what makes somebody the greatest of all time. And I told you, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Only you do that. I don't tell you you're wrong. You tell me I'm wrong. I tell you this is my opinion.
But you do tell me I'm wrong.
And those people who don't look at rings,
you do tell me I'm wrong.
It's because their definition of greatest of all time does not include rings, which is totally fine. My definition of the greatest includes rings, because I'm saying I'm not saying
totally
he's the greatest.
Fine, but you don't seem to
I'm
like
not saying
it.
he's the greatest basketball player. I'm saying he's the greatest NBA player of all time. And the way I describe that is, I don't know if I said it in this conversation or before, but I told you, if you put Crawford or Dame Lillard in a room with John Stockton, or another like point guard, and I'm like, I think that Lillard, or I think Jamal Crawford, I'm putting my money on them in a 1v1. But that doesn't make them a better NBA basketball player.
Okay,
I'm saying,
but we're going
as an NBA player, resume.
Let's stick with the
that's
ring.
That's on your resume, whether you like it or not.
But
championships are on your resume.
That's what I'm trying to understand, man. I don't understand what you're doing. On the one hand, you say, I know one player doesn't win a ring. I know it's a team game. And then every time I ask you, why are you going by rings, you either tell me, well, it should count, it's my opinion, or just like a little while ago, you made some reference about, oh, man, people don't want to go by rings. It's funny how they don't want to pick Michael Jordan or something like that. Why are you going by rings? One player doesn't win rings.
I said one player, I've said two things. One, I said one player does not win a championship, which is true. But I've also said in basketball, because this was a whole debate earlier, at basketball, one player has a huge impact. But that doesn't mean he's the only reason.
How is George Gervin supposed to impact his team to win the finals if his team is not in the finals?
How is Charles Barkley,
John Stockton,
I'm not blaming them.
Supposed to do it?
I'm not blaming them.
But you're holding it against them. You're elevating Jordan and holding it against them.
Because I have to look at things. I have to say, okay, who is the best NBA player? Like, who has the best NBA resume individually and team achievements? Who has, like, the best resume when you combine it all? And to me, it's Michael Jordan. Now, if you want to say who's the best assister, I'm like, okay, well, probably Magic, maybe Stockton.
No. You're not understanding what I'm saying. You're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm not asking you how did you come to the conclusion. I know what you're doing, why you're picking Mike, what the resume thing is. You're going by the totality of everything. I get it, man. This is Jordan Fan 101. Rings is part of it. It's not everything. It's part of it, and he has an impact, and one player doesn't win rings. And is that really
Jordan Fan 101? Because if Kareem had 0 rings?
Rings? No. Are you kidding me, man? You don't know what Jordan's fans go by rings. Yes, all the time, man.
No.
You should know that.
Jordan fans,
you really don't know that, man?
No. Here's the thing. Jordan fans or stans, because I told you there's a difference, that's their trump card. Because they can easily go, oh, well, he has 6, or he goes 6 for 6, and I get that. And I'm like, okay, I don't have to do that. I'm saying it's a part of it. I'm saying it's a part of the whole thing for me.
I said no.
But it's not only rings.
I didn't say that was your. No, I never said that was your only thing. I know that was part of your totality of the resume. I explained that. You're not going by one thing, you're going by everything then. But I'm trying to understand two things. One, why are you going by rings if you acknowledge one player doesn't win a ring? And then two, if you say it's an impact, it's not one player, it's a team, it's an impact. Then again, we're getting into how much impact. How is another star like George Gervin, Dr. J, Larry Bird, Bill, whoever, Magic Johnson, how are they supposed to impact their team to win the ring if the team is not good enough to win the ring?
Then they can't.
So then why would you elevate Jordan and hold it against
Because Jordan did, though. Jordan elevated his team, him and Pippen and Phil Jackson and the entire team. But Jordan was the driving force. Jordan was that guy. Okay, and this one thing,
like we're going
he was
circles,
always.
Man. I don't understand.
He was always that guy. Kareem has 6 titles, but twice he was only the Finals MVP. That means 4 times somebody else was that guy. Even the third down the team, James Worthy was that guy.
Again. How is George Gervin supposed to win the NBA Finals MVP? How is George Gervin supposed to win Finals MVP if his team is not? That you can't. Okay, here. Let me try flipping it around. Let me flip it around. Maybe look at this. It would be unfair for me to say Michael Jordan lost in the playoffs, Michael Jordan didn't win the finals, Michael Jordan didn't win the NBA Finals MVP, and he didn't win a ring every year because it's not Michael Jordan's fault. It's not his fault. It's a team thing. Actually, you know what? I don't even want to say it's a team thing because I'm not going to hold it against a team if they're not good enough. It takes a team to win.
But see, you're going to a different place where you're saying, well, is it this guy's fault or should this guy have played better or this guy, or if he can't get to the finals, how's he supposed to win it? What I'm saying is I'm looking at what happened. All we can look at is their stats, their final, like how they elevate themselves in the playoffs, who has championships, who has finals MVPs, who has scoring titles, who has rebounding titles, Will Chamberlain's gaudy, crazy stats, which no one will ever compare to. But the chips, I'm like, yeah, he had 2 and he was only 1 finals MVP. So when it comes to the team aspect,
let me follow up to that.
He falls a notch down.
I know what you're
Thank you.
I know what you're saying. You said that I'm holding against the Stars for not winning a ring. I'm not holding it against the Stars. I'm explaining that it's not their fault. You said, I don't have the exact words and exact quote. You said something like that, but I'm not holding it against the Stars. I'm acknowledging you can't blame a star for winning or losing. It's a team thing. I'm following up to you.
Do you realize?
But hold on. I'm following. It's okay. It's fine. I'm following up to you because you're going by rings. You're explaining it's not everything, but it's a part of it, and you're elevating Michael Jordan and holding it against other stars. Think like this, man. Think Will Chamberlain, okay? If Will Chamberlain scores 100 points and gets 100 rebounds and makes 100 of his shots and does 100 steals, and the team, I'm giving a ridiculous hypothetical, but if the team loses, what is Will Chamberlain supposed to do? What else is he supposed to do?
Okay. Maybe he should pass more. You know what? Scoring 60, 70 points.
Are you joking, man, or being serious? Come on.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm saying basketball. Jordan. Do you know Jordan? His highest points per game averages didn't win a championship. This is what I'm saying. Sometimes your stats have to come down. Sometimes your stats. Let me finish. Sometimes your stats have to come down for your team to do better. You have to sacrifice.
You're avoiding my question, man. You're avoiding my question.
No, I'm not avoiding. You're saying what could he have done? And you're crazy.
And you said
100 points, 100 rebounds. And what I'm saying is, when you ask me a question, I'm trying to answer you. And you're saying, in that 100 points, 100 rebounds, you said, and he still lost the game somehow. What could he have done more? And I'm saying, okay, well, if I had to just answer this crazy hypothetical, I'm going to say, well, maybe he should have passed one because then maybe guys would have got more involved. I don't know.
Okay, then you don't understand my hypothetical. Then you're not
saying is Jordan averaged 38 points a game and didn't win the championship.
You're not understanding my hypothetical. I know my hypothetical is ridiculous and doesn't make sense. I know that. But it's an extreme version of what happens in a game. So if you don't want the 100 example, let's go by realistic examples. If Will Chamberlain scores 39 points a game, gets 29 rebounds, makes 70% of his field goals, and gets 9 assists, if the team loses, are you going to hold it against the player for the team not winning?
In that particular, no. I'm saying if you ask me to find a reason, I could nitpick and find a reason, but I'm not going to look at that player and probably say that, but maybe I would.
That's what you're doing.
Guess what? It happened to Jordan. Jordan scored all these points, and you say the fans say, oh, he was this, he was that, but the media and the people who with knowledge, They were told, you're not a team player like Magic and Bird. You're a ball hog. That was the narrative. Listen to me. I'm sorry. The narrative was never, well, Jordan scored 50 and his teammates. I'm saying exactly with what you're saying. If Wilt had these great numbers.
I'm asking you, let me just to make sure there's no misunderstanding. I'm asking you again. If you're explaining that you're not holding it against the star, you're saying you're not holding it against Wilt. That's what you're explaining. Before you tell me what the media does, what they said about Jordan.
Let me address that because that's not true.
How is a star? Okay, go ahead.
I'm not. When I say I hold it against Wilt, I don't mean in some negative like, okay, Wilt's not that great.
No, I didn't say.
I'm saying when I look at the record,
no, you're not paying attention to what I'm saying, man. I didn't say you said that. I'm
paying attention. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I'm paying attention.
No. I'm saying you're saying you're not holding it against the star. You're not holding it against the Wilt.
No,
that's a good thing.
No, but if I'm trying to explain. I'm not holding it against him in the sense of who he is as a player. I'm saying, but I have to hold it against him in the conversation. Remember, I said when you start getting into the GOAT debate and you start like nitpicking, like, okay, well, who did this, who did that? I'm saying if you have 2 championships, this is on your resume, and another guy has 6, that's a check mark in this person's category. It's not the end of the debate at all.
Are you check mark?
It's not the end of the debate.
I know you're not saying it's the end. I know that, but my follow up is, why is that even there? And then number 2, are you being consistent? Because there are other stars who have 6 or more rings.
And I've asked you to tell me, of those stars who have 6 or more rings, who has the individuals like Jordan, and then the finals MVPs impacted those finals. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. I've explained names of stars. I gave you names like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, MVPs. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. So now you're going to NBA Finals MVP. Hold on. You're going to Finals MVP. The question was not just Finals MVP. The question was resume. And I told you earlier, nobody in general is going to have the exact same point-for-point resume. You have to go by the totality of a resume.
Understood.
So if Michael Jordan scores 37 points a game and Wilt Chamberlain scores 40 points a game, I'm not going to say just on that Wilt is better or Jordan's better. So you go by rebounds, field goal percentage, assists, steals, playing position.
Okay, here's the thing. You can, and that's fine. That's fine to do that.
But this is important, man. When you say that's fine, so when you go by everything, including rings, which is what you're doing, this is not what I'm doing, this is what you're doing, then the answer to your question, again, is people like Magic Johnson, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Bird, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, and let me respond to that. Because you're trying to diminish finals MVPs as I bring it up. But here's the thing. Do you understand why Kobe's 5 finals, if people look at it and they go, he's got 5, there's always that but. Because the first 3, people look and say, well, you weren't the finals MVP for the first 3. There was someone else on your team that was even more impactful than you. When you look at KD, how you get the rings and what happens in those final series matter. KD has 2 rings, but guess what?
Okay, maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. Maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. I thought your point was that you're going by everything. When I address everything, you go to NBA Finals MVP.
No, that's not where I'm going. This is where I started. You went into everything else, and I'm going back to where I started because I didn't want you to diminish the finals MVPs because I'm telling you, Kareem has the stats and he has the chips to match Jordan. Or if you want to say his stats are better, then that's fine. But what I'm saying is, when you start breaking it down,
I just want to make sure I understand. No, I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You said you're not going. You said you're not doing that. So I'm sorry.
I'm not doing what?
When you started this, I think you were saying when you started this, you were not doing that. What I explained about the NBA Finals MVP and all that. But the totality of the resume. But I remember the phone call, man. In the beginning, you started with, and you're doing it now. You're going by everything. You're not going by just NBA Finals MVP. So when I address what other stars do, you go to NBA Finals MVP then. And then why does that even count so much?
No, I'm not going there is what I'm saying. Is I started there, you interrupted, and then you took it to the other things, but I wanted to go back to to finish my thought, and then you make it seem like I'm trying to
interrupt, man. I explained to you why there's an interruption, man.
No, I'm saying, I'm not talking about you interrupting. I'm talking about you went to stats, and you went to rebounds and assists, and I'm like, but I was talking about Finals MVPs. I didn't get to finish my thoughts on that. So when I spoke again, I wanted to go back to my previous thought. I wasn't
Hey, please subscribe. And if you disagree with me on something, you can go on my program and show me your facts on whatever you disagree on. If you want to go on, let's set it up. Send me an email. The email is right there in the description section. Thank you.